Okay, here's my laboratory here in Minsk, Belarus. It's my boxes of stuff. Here's my Mullermotorgenerator running. Right now, 30 milliamps, 14.6 volts. I have this power supply here made for charging batteries into this little cap bank, and that's my DC power supply. Here's the MOSFET and the chip. I don't have any back EMF steering diode hooked up to it now. My RPM tester. You can see it has a little bit of reflective tape. And what I'm going to do now is test some generator coils. I have a couple little diodes in parallel, 50 volt diodes, IN430s I believe. And so that's what I'm going to do in this video. Here's beautiful Minsk, Belarus out there. Down there, a bunch of alcoholic guys are always down there. Here's the balcony where we dry our clothes. So this is my lab. Okay. Okay, to test coils, let's say I'm going to test this coil. I put my meter into AC, 200 volts AC now. And this is not really a good AC, but this is to test it. So what I do is see what you get from one coil. Let's say this bottom coil down here. Probably about 6 or 7 volts, I don't know. Okay, 9.5 volts from that coil in AC, supposedly. I didn't do the upper coil. Oh, 13 volts. Okay, so we should have about like 22 volts if you hook these up right. So I grab a, test clip on a magnet, pretty good. Okay, now watch. Now I'll select this wire to this wire. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera more steady. Okay, now let's see what you get in AC from the remaining two. There, 23. So this is the right way to hook these up, and just for fun, let's hook them up the other way. Okay, I'm going to try and hold that camera steady, not annoy people. Okay, now if you do it wrong, you get like 4 volts. Some people say this is a way to beat Lenz's law. You can hook them up backwards like this and then put a capacitor in series and kind of shift the phase. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go for maximum volts. So that is this way. This wire connected to this wire, and here, and whoops. Okay, I'll get this over with, sorry. Okay, here we get 23 volts. Okay, so that's the way you hook it up. Hold on a sec. Okay, that green jumper wire, I now put a diode across there. And I have the meter hooked up, but it's in AC now, so put it over in DC. -10, so I'll switch the red and the black around. Okay, 10.2. Alright, now I'm going to add a capacitor. Okay, now I have a capacitor hooked up to the meter in DC, and also 2 leads going to the coil. This one and this one's not connected. When I connect this, the capacitor will fill up. Hear it lug a little bit. Capacitor goes to 15 now. Kind of lugged a lot. Didn't like that, so I'm going to short out the capacitor to 0, down to 2 volts, down to 0. Now I'm going to switch how I hook up the polarity of the capacitor across here. So I only have one diode, I don't have a full wave bridge. Okay, that is the way you hook it up. Here it hardly lugged at all, and it went to 34 volts very quickly. So there's a definite way you want this capacitor polarity to be hooked up with a single diode. And this is the way. And that's how you figure it out. With the engine running, and try one way, try the other way. So, I saw a video by Tin Man Power down in Australia, and he noted that with a single diode rectifying off a generator coil, he was using a universal washing machine motor, and there's one way it speeds the motor up a little bit, the other way lugs it down. So if you have 2 diodes of opposite polarity coming off the same lead on a generator coil. So that's kind of what I did here. I found out all the polarities correct and used a single diode. Romero UK used a full wave bridge rectifier and then another full wave bridge rectifier. But I'm doing it like this right now. So, off of one coil position I'm getting 35 volts. It's pretty good. It's not spinning that fast. It's going just under 500. 486 RPM. Okay, so now I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to put magnets behind these magnets up here. I'm going to put these behind the top generator coils on the upper stator, and just put them sticking to the cores of each one. So there'll be 6 magnets here, and I'm going to try to get it to speed up a little bit than it is now. We know it's going 490 right now. Okay, so I'm going to stop the camera and do that. Hold on. Okay, I put one here and one here. Basically all you do is you put the magnet back here, listen to it, go the other way. I'll take this one off. Go that way, flip it around, and say not that way. This one has the most effect over here. That way. I didn't really get much speed up at all. I had it up to 510. It's just about the same, really. So these magnets don't do much. Let me try some more. So you're not doing very much at all. So there's that. I'm just not going to even put these on. Okay, I played around with magnets above and below and around, and I couldn't really make much effect. These cores in this are these pinpoint shaped laminates, steel made from florist wire. And anyways, I just put 2 magnets over here just to quiet the motor down a bit, but it doesn't speed it up. So on my other motor I have in USA, I have ferrite cores that go all the way through, and the ferrite really reacts to the rotor magnets. These I have a pinpoint shape that reacts to the rotor magnets, and I have more laminate steel in the back side of the coil. So anyways, these cores don't really do much with magnets, but on my other motor they really do a lot. I have a video up of that. Backing magnets beat Lenz's law. It's only like 20 seconds long. Anyways, so I have 35 volts in this capacitor down here, and I'm going to again show you the proper way to do this. You don't put a load on this capacitor while it's hooked to the generator coil. You disconnect the generator coil, then short out the capacitor to the load. Now we should have 0. Now reconnect it and watch as the capacitor fills, and listen. It's filling now, up to 34 already. Do it again. Short it out, 0. I'm going to connect it right now. This, you can see how fast it fills. That fast. And you hear the motor did not flinch at all. So it's no Lenz's law filling this capacitor, which is not very big. It's only 47 UF. So now what you need to do is go up in size to capacitors and find a size that doesn't cause Lenz's law, but it's still a pretty good size capacitor, so you have some good power when you discharge it. So as an extreme example, I'm gonna fill up this capacitor, which is 14 times bigger or something than this other one. Okay, so hold on. Okay, those are 14 100 UF caps, so it's 1400 UF. 1400 as compared to 47 that you just saw. Now I'm going to connect this. This wire goes to this lead. This wire is going to go to the other lead, and see what happens. Listen to the sound of the motor, how much it lugs, and how quick it fills up and how high. It's at 20 volts now. It lugged. It's not too bad of lug for this size of capacitor. Sorry, I'm moving. I only have one arm, 2 arms. Okay, ready? Short that out. See that? Now it's down to 0. Oh, I'm going to try the other way. I'm not really sure. Listen to it lug when I connect this, how fast the capacitor goes up. It's at 24 volts. I'm going to switch the way it hooks to the capacitor now, the polarity of the wires coming off. I switched from here to there. See if it makes a difference. There's what we had in the cap, 24 volts. Now let's hook this other one up this way, see what happens. Not too bad a lugging. I feel like this way is a little bit better. It didn't lug as much. So, there's some generator coil capacitor tests. Now what I should do is like go to half of, like only 7 of these or 6 and 5, and find a really good value where it doesn't lug at all when you load the capacitor from 0. And could be that your final system will have capacitors that like discharge like from 25 down to 10. So now you want to check how it operates and if there's any Lenz's law lugging from 10 volts in the capacitor when it fills as compared to 0. Right now I'm just testing with 0 in the capacitor first. So there's some generator coil testing. Okay, thanks a lot. 17 minutes, sorry.